I've already ridden my bike more this off season in the last 2 months than I did last year altogether. I already feel comfortable like pushing the pace on that bike. Like I know exactly what that thing's going to do, how it's going to react. Yeah, I feel fast, man. Like I definitely need to keep working on the fitness. I'm still not to the point right now where I feel like I can ride at like my 100% pace. I'm getting back to being closer than I've been in a long time to being able to put those pieces together. It's starting to feel like old times a little bit. I'm really going to miss this when I can't do it anymore.
Aaron Gwin, it's been a wee while, but welcome back to the Downtime Podcast, mate. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. All is good. Just wrapped up Hardline yesterday. Still here in Maydena and just enjoying some time.
Tell us a little bit about Hardline from your perspective. Like, how was it first time at one of these events and something pretty different for you?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience overall. I've never done one before. So, I think first things first as a rider, the track, right, is crazy. It's unlike anything I've ever ridden before. So definitely was nervous for the last few months, honestly, before getting here, but I felt like I would handle it fine. But it's still like the jumps are so big, so the first few times you ride them, you got to pay attention and hope everything goes well. So, but yeah, man, I had a really fun week. It was a really fun track. Once you got all the jumps kind of ticked off, it was, I've said it a few times, but it kind of felt like a once in a lifetime experience, something you'll never forget. Like it's a pretty special race, and definitely being here in Tasmania is really cool. So overall, great week. Was really nice to just get some laps in and get ready for the season, but super fun.
Yeah, once in a lifetime. Does that mean we won't see you at another Hardline, or have you been swayed?
Yeah, we'll see for sure. I really enjoyed it. So I'm not sure. I'm not scheduled to do any more this year just because the rest of my schedule. But we'll kind of see how things go maybe next year and stuff, because I definitely enjoyed it.
Good stuff. Did you enjoy that more collaborative approach? Because it's so different from a World Cup week.
Yeah, for sure. I think, it felt a lot different here. I think it probably took till the end of maybe the third day sometime where I kind of remembered like, oh, this is an actual race. Because the first few days you're working down the hill with everybody, you're kind of ticking off each feature at a time. For me, I haven't ridden here before, so like remembering the track was like pretty tough the first few days.
Yeah.
Getting confused by like which section was which, because you can't just like roll down the track here and do warm-up laps. Like you have to do the features. There's no go-arounds for most of them, so it's like you just have to kind of work in small sections. So first few days felt like it was just that, like you said, collaborative, kind of riding with everybody. I was able to follow my teammate Asa off of most of the jumps and everything too, so I felt like that definitely helped me. And then by like the third day it was like, okay, we got this figured out, and start linking it all together. And then it started feeling like, oh, we actually got to race this now, so trying to go fast. So it was cool though.
Stepping it up. Yeah. What's the vibe like with you and Asa? It seems to be working out super well.
Yeah, it's really good, man. I really enjoy hanging out with them and just riding together. I think we work really well together. I think it's kind of funny to me. We're pretty similar in a lot of ways, actually. And where he's at like the beginning of his career, it reminds me a lot of things that I was kind of going through earlier in my career and things that I was thinking about, or it's kind of funny. I know exactly where he's at. So but it's made a lot of fun to hang out for sure.
Yeah. He said that he felt like he wasn't up to speed, and he followed you and was like stoked to get on your lines and stuff, and it made a difference to him. That's super cool, huh?
Yeah, it's cool because I think we both have good speed, and we both have like different maybe strengths and weaknesses, but I think we see things pretty similarly. He definitely just has that like raw speed, but I think in some ways like I pay attention to maybe some lines a little more, some things here and there, and so like between the two of us, I think we really kind of help each other get up to speed and feel like we're not missing anything on track. I think between the two of us, we're able to like prepare really well. So not that he needs me, but, I do think that we complement each other well. So it was definitely fun practicing. And I think like so far when we're riding, even at team camp back in California a few weeks ago, like we pretty much ride together almost every lap where we did then. He follows me a lot, and it's cool to be able to kind of work together like that.
Yeah, potentially a pretty deadly combo for World Cups, right? The two of you, like you say, you've got different strengths and not weaknesses, but like gaps, and you're both helping each other, I think.
For sure. Yeah, that's the hope definitely, is that we can both help each other kind of get where we want to go. So I think it's man, I'm stoked. I can't really think of it being much better.
Yeah. And did you get to follow many other riders down the hill? Like, were there particularly enjoyable runs from the weekend behind certain people?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think I know Troy obviously really well, Luca. So riding with those are guys I trust too. Like, they're safe. And so when you're going to huck like 100-foot jump for the first time, I don't really want to follow like anybody on it for the first time. So yeah, I would say those guys definitely. Jackson let me follow him through a feature for the first time, and a couple other guys too. So it's definitely like cool. Like, you just get a collaborative effort to get everybody down the hill together.
Yeah. And it looked like the pace for you was pretty hot and ramping up as well.
Yeah, definitely. I feel pretty good. Like, we're only barely into February now, so we're pretty early in the preseason still, I would say. But I feel like I've gotten a way better start this year than I have for probably 3 or 4 years. This is the first off season I haven't really had a surgery or had major time off the bike. I've been on the bike all off season, and I've been training at home, and I feel like I'm starting to get my base back again, which is just that months of repetition, training, strength, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm feeling pretty good. The bike is really good too, and I feel like it didn't take me really any time to get used to that. So I already feel comfortable like pushing the pace on that bike. Like, I know exactly what that thing's going to do, how it's going to react. So yeah, I feel fast, man. Like, I definitely need to keep working on the fitness. I'm still not to the point right now where I feel like I can ride at like my 100% pace all the way down the track. Even this weekend, I mean, it was a qualifying run, but that was my first full lap, and I definitely like took the foot off the gas a little bit, kind of halfway, 3/4 the way down.
You could see your split start to drift back a little.
And that was intentional for seating, because I hadn't done a full lap, and I'd only jumped a few of those jumps at the bottom like twice that morning. And I just wanted to make sure that I had enough gas in the tank to like fully pay attention to those jumps. And but I was definitely like pleasantly surprised when I got down there. I felt like I still had good energy, and the jumps were fine. They're built so well that I was like, okay, you could ride these if you're absolutely on the limit. So it was like the plan was to just push all the way through for finals. But yeah, still, like, we're in February, we got a few more months, so that's the plan, just kind of keep hammering, getting my fitness back where it needs to be.
Yeah. Before we move away from hardline, you've got a motocross background. What did you think to the whoop section? Do you think they have a place?
Yeah, the whoop section here I thought was really cool. They make a lot of whoop sections at like home for the national series. They've been doing it, which I think is rad. But I think with a mountain bike not having a throttle, like actually kind of being able to skip across whoops without them just being really close together and weird, you got to be going really fast, and they got to kind of be pointed down. So this was like one of the few, probably the only whoop section I've ever ridden that really felt like it worked, like where you were really skipping across whoops. It was funny, like the first time Asa went through it, I was standing there and he was going a little slower, and it literally was like, it looked like a dirt bike. Like, it was just like, brr, 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 like just one at a time, like, because they're spaced pretty far apart. You know, they're not big. Close. And so it was cool. I thought it was a rad section.
Yeah, fair play. It was cool to see something different as well, right?
Yeah, totally.
I want to reflect back a little bit to last season. So you were running your own program with Crestline and getting to a decent amount of the World Cups. What was the reality of running your own thing like?
It was great, man. Like, in all honesty, I really enjoyed it. We had an awesome group of people, awesome group of team partners and sponsors. Everything was good. It is definitely more work for sure. Like, it's a lot of work between just organizing all the sponsorships and the budgets you need, and figuring out what budget you need, and then trying to get those dollars, and then allocating them, and then all the booking of the travel and the hotels and logistics and all the stuff. It's just, obviously more work if you're running all of that yourself. But I enjoyed it. It was really cool. But I think I just kind of got to a spot where it was like, all right, we either need to make a really big step up in budget so that we can kind of hire out the help we need to take a lot of this off my hands, and to be able to like kind of take the team to the next level. Cause I kind of know what these top World Cup teams are like nowadays. Like, they're really all in, they got a lot of support, they're doing a lot of things right. Or go ride for a team that already had that. Cause I think for me, I kind of, through the last few years of injury and time off the bike, and kind of even wondering like, how much longer do I want to race or whatever. I think as I started to race again the last year and a half or so from my big injury, I just realized like, man, I'm really going to miss this when I can't do it anymore. And if I can race a few more years, I feel like I still have a lot more speed and kind of like ability left than what I've been able to show the last few years, just because of how busy I've been and kind of not able to really do the preparation I need to. I was like, just really wanted to give myself the opportunity to put everything into it, or as much as possible, for these last few years, if I could get it. And so I've been chatting with Nico, and he always jokes with me, like he says, man, you got to go dark like you used to, and just go train and just come out and race and then go back to training. And I was like, man, I'm too busy to do that now. But thankfully it kind of all worked out, where he was able to give me the opportunity to really focus on my racing and training again. And he kind of takes care of the rest of it. So back to your original questions, like the team was really cool. I really enjoyed doing that, but I think for myself, these last few years, just wanted to give myself the opportunity to focus on it like 100% again. And this was the best way to do that.
Yeah. And it's not just the race team taking your attention, right? There's the bike park. Like you're a pretty busy man.
Yeah. I always kind of joke. I'm like, yeah, if it was just like one of the 4 or 5 things, then it probably would be okay. But when you stack them all together, it's even though I love doing it all, you just really feel like you're only operating at like maybe 70%, 75% on all of them. And I'm competitive. Like if I'm going to do something, I really want to kind of be able to give it my all. So I was just finding myself a bit frustrated the last few years, where I loved everything we were doing, but I just knew like, I can't really do a good job at this. I don't have the time, and when you start finding yourself saying like, I'm too busy to train today, and that's the thing you really want to do, you've got to make a change if you value, trying to put all the effort in again, because the guys you're racing with, they're putting everything into it. So you can't do it on a part-time gig.
Yeah. You've made some huge steps forward at Windrock though. Like I visited in 22 before you took the park on, and then again early in 25, and like the change, the amount of work on the hill, the shop, everything, like it must have been rewarding to see that, but I'd imagine a lot of graft. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, the bike park at Windrock's been a ton of work first couple of years. I mean, I think it gets, as you learn, obviously you get more efficient, and things get a little bit easier, and you're just able to build your foundation a little bit stronger. You don't need to build a new bike shop every year. So it's like once you have it, you kind of got it, and you can just kind of keep building on that. But yeah, a ton of work. I mean, huge days, huge hours out there. For a while, I really enjoyed it because I was injured for, I think, the first 6 months or something when we got it still, and kind of didn't have anything else to do. And so it was like really able to put the focus in there. But once I started racing and we were doing that and some of these other things we got going on in life, it's just like, it definitely stacks up and becomes a lot. But yeah, the bike park right now is doing great. Like we're kind of to a spot now where I feel like we've really got our base and our foundation strong. We've got some really good people working for us, and like our trails are in a really good spot, the bike shop, like just, I feel like we've kind of figured out how to run that place efficiently. And now I think we're to the spot where like, all right, we've kind of got our base set. Now we can kind of start growing and building and like doing some like really cool stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited. Like we've got an awesome crew there. We got a new general manager that's actually starting for us like when we get home in about a week. He's moving out from California. His name's Jake Kinney. He's been with Woodward West, or he was for a long time, doing the bike program there. And awesome coach, awesome guy, awesome family. And so we're really stoked to have him out. And I think just as you kind of build your team, now we can just do more and feel like we can do a really good job at it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun right now.
You seem to be enjoying digging on the hill there. You got a pretty cool hookup with, was it Kubota?
Yeah, Kubota. Yeah, they've been a great partner of ours on the machines and with the race team actually last year. But yeah, we're kind of, I've unfortunately found that my time is better spent not sitting in the digger, because the guys that work for us are way better at it than I am, because I just haven't spent that much time. And my value is more like doing the things that I can bring value to the park and letting the trail crew work on the trails. But at my core and my heart, I would love to just be on the trails working all day, because that's what I love. But I got to be careful. Like I've got kind of old man hands after so many years of just kind of hammering, and I even had a surgery this time last year from literally swinging the rogue hoe. So
oh, really?
I got to be a little careful, unfortunately, when I'm digging now.
Was that something pre-season? Was that what the surgery
that was
was?
A different one. This was like a ring finger, like trigger finger surgery that I had. But it's just, I mean, I've just loved digging since I was 4 or 5 years old. That's what I used to do every day when I got home from school. So, but between the rodding and the moto and the digging and all the things, like, dude, my hands get kind of hammered. So and I just don't know how to dig chill. Like, I just feel like it's my mission to see how much I can get done every time I pick up a rogue hoe or a shovel. So I go a little nuts and kind of pay the price. But love digging trails. But right now, time's better spent letting our guys do that and let me focus on the other stuff.
Do you love mountain biking? Do you enjoy listening to the podcast and following the gravity race scene? Do you also have a genuine passion for social media? Well, then we might have the perfect role for you. We're looking to bring a part-time social media producer into the Downtime podcast team, working 1 day per week. Downtime is growing and we're sitting on a huge amount of great content, episodes, clips, conversations and opinions. This role is about helping that content reach more people in smarter ways. The job has 2 key parts. First, creating and posting social assets from the podcast, pulling clips, shaping content for different platforms and publishing it consistently with an understanding of what actually works. Secondly, analysing performance, looking at the mountain bike social media landscape, spotting patterns, understanding what's hitting and why, and using that insight to help improve our impact over time. This isn't about jumping on every trend, it's about understanding mountain bike media, the gravity race scene, and how audiences engage with content. It's a paid role, 1 day per week, and ideal for someone who enjoys both the creative and analytical sides of social media. Also, you can be based anywhere in the world. To apply, just email chris@downtimepodcast.com with your CV and a few words about why you think you'd be a good fit for the role. Applications close on the 22nd of February 2026. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Given everything you had against you, like lack of time, surgery going into the season, all that kind of stuff, looking back, how do you rate your performance last year?
I felt like it was good last year for everything that I had to put into it. And I did work hard. I really didn't have a lot of time to ride my bike. I think there was a point last year, we were 3/4 of the way through the season, even all the way to the end of the season. And I was trying to count, like, how many days have I been able to actually ride my downhill bike outside of a race, a clinic I was teaching, or like a photo or video shoot. And I was like, I think like 5 days until we went to Whistler kind of later on in the year. And I rode another 3 or 4 days. So I was like, man, you can't do that. Like, I've already ridden my bike more this off season in the last 2 months than I did last year all together outside of the races. So it was busy, but I did do a lot of racing last year. I was scheduled to do, I think, like 17 races. So we were racing a ton. So I was on the bike quite a bit. But when you're just going race to race to race and never able to really ride outside of the races, obviously it's hard to really test or, figure things out or experiment and mess around with stuff. So all things considered, I made all the finals last year that I tried to make except for Leger in the mud. I crashed. And I felt like with how competitive things are going and for how much time I had and being basically a full privateer kind of program, I felt like the results were good, but not as good as they could be if I had, what I feel like I need to kind of chase after my goals. So that was kind of the thing. I was like, I'm just competitive, so it's cool to make a finals, but I'm not really like racing World Cup to just make finals. Like, I want to be competitive and be battling inside the top 10 every race is really like where I hope to be. So, good, but I would like it to be better.
You want more? Yeah, totally fair. And like, looking at results only, you seem to go better at the new venues. So La Tuile, I think 14th. Did you feel like you gelled with that track?
Yeah, definitely did. That felt like my worst race run of the year, to be honest, and it was my best result. I think that I just shine at the tracks that are really hard, like the ones that are really rough, wide, have line choice, like the ones where not everybody goes fast. I think some of the tracks now, Leo Gang, even Ludenville, and I love those tracks. They're some of my favorite tracks, but depending on the weather conditions, when they kind of become these like one-line freeways and you can be wide open on the very first lap of practice, I think now with the bike I have and kind of the time training and everything, I think I can do some damage on those tracks. But I think the tracks where like the skills can shine a little bit more, you've kind of got to like turn the brain on more and like really figure things out and kind of like ride the limit. And you can't just like go like pinned onto like the same line as everybody else. I think those tracks have just always been like where my more technical riding abilities like can shine a little bit more. So just I think now, like I said, with the bike and the time and everything I have, I think I should be pretty competitive on most tracks. But I'm not doing all the World Cups this year, and I'll be missing, I think, 3. And the ones that I've picked are basically, and I kind of laugh because I'm like, oh, you just picked all the scariest, like hardest tracks and kind of skipped like Leogang. And some of these ones I really like, but I just kind of picking the ones that I feel like are the most difficult because I think it's where there's the most separation between riders, which I think is good.
Makes total sense. Yeah, your best result of the season was Lake Placid, and you were involved to some extent in the track design build up there. Like, talk us through that project from your perspective.
Yeah, that project was really cool. I had the opportunity through Warner Brothers, basically, when they came to me and asked, like, hey, would you be interested to go kind of check this mountain out? So went out there a couple of years ago, right after the season was over, I think in October, and kind of hiked the mountain a bunch of times in a couple of days. We even went over to Mount Hovenberg, which is the XC venue, and they were thinking about like maybe trying to put it over there because that venue was pretty good and they already invested all the money and time into the cross country course there. But the mountain was just too small and really didn't work kind of for what I felt like a downhill race was going to need to be. And Whiteface is the opposite. It's epic. Like, it's like the dream spot for a downhill race. So kind of Warner Brothers had a couple of different areas where they thought we could kind of make the track, but it was like, hey, the finish line needs to be here, the start needs to be here. There's a few different routes you could kind of go, tell us which one we should kind of use. So it kind of started there. And then as we kept working, it became more detailed on like, all right, this is exactly where it's going to go. And then this is how the track's going to look and what the features are going to be, and working with the dig crew and all those guys over there that did a great job too. Ended up just being able to come up with a really cool track. So I tried to not do too much there because I think the terrain was so cool, the way it kind of naturally rolls, and try to leave it as natural as possible. But yeah, I thought it was really fun to race in the States, really fun to race somewhere different. And I think that mountain is just kind of different with the terrain, and especially when it's dry, like how just blown out and dusty and dry it was. It wasn't like the other races, which I thought was cool. It's kind of was its own deal. So
yeah, it stood out wasn't there, but on TV it stood out differently as well, for sure. Like, were you surprised in any way in how that track evolved? Because like, you'd ridden it, I think maybe a couple of test runs or whatever, but it changed a lot. Yeah,
I knew that it was gonna like get rough quick because that place was crazy. It had like almost like 6 inches of this like mesh of like, not roots, but almost like a matting of like very small roots or something, like ground cover kind of topsoil, and you couldn't cut through it with a shovel. Like, it was thick, so trying to like actually get good dirt there was like really difficult. But it was soft, and you knew as soon as you started skidding a bunch of tires across it, it was going to kind of break apart fast. So I mean, I think I did maybe 2 laps there. I rode each section maybe once or twice to kind of make sure it was going to work, and then would like tweak the pole position. But I just purposely thought it would be awesome to have a track that was basically untouched, unridden, like full fresh loamer, and just let everybody burn it in. But I think like when we went up to do practice after the juniors did practice in the morning, I was like, oh boy, like it had only been open for like 2 hours and it was already like blowing apart. So I think how fast it went away like surprised me a little bit, but I thought it was cool. It made it a totally different kind of unique type of track.
Yeah. Was it a fun track to ride by the time you got to race day?
I thought it was, for sure. I mean, it was definitely difficult, that top bit, but I think with kind of where we had to route that track and all the ski run stuff further down the track, I was like, I thought it'd be cool. Like, it needed to be kind of pretty techy and difficult for the first minute or so the whole track didn't feel like a kind of more of a freeway. So I thought it had like a good blend of stuff by the end. And yeah, I mean, again, for me, I really like that natural kind of stuff like Val de Sol and some of those tracks. So I just tried to kind of make it that, just not build more than you needed to, and just let the thing kind of break in and kind of get lines and all that. So I really enjoyed riding that track. I thought it was really fun.
Does it change your approach or your expectations when it's a track that you've had that level of involvement in?
I mean, yeah, maybe. Like, I knew I would probably get up to speed faster, not because I didn't really ride it at all, but I knew every line on the track because I put the poles like where they needed to go for the most part. So there's always that first day where you're like, oh, I just can't remember what's what. Like this week here in Hardline, like it took me a couple of laps to even remember the top sections. Like I would be getting confused with where I was on the track. So I knew that was going to allow me to get up to speed a little bit faster because like, even though I hadn't really ridden it, I knew every inch of that track. So, yeah, I felt like I was able to get up to speed pretty quick, but also you have to like adjust your expectations because it's such a fresh track, what you kind of think it is, and then once it blows apart and burns in and the lines move around into different places, now you're actually riding it for what it is, and you're like, oh, I thought it would be here, but now it's here. And so you still got to learn it as you go. But yeah, I would say just being comfortable with the venue, knowing the track, like especially first day of practice through qualifying, like I was able to get up to speed pretty quick because I just kind of knew where I was going.
Yeah, and finished 13th, I think, in finals.
Yeah, something like that. I think, I felt good there. Felt really good up top, and just I was losing time at the bottom on that more like kind of flat motorway stuff. All weekend finals was kind of the same way, so it was a bit of a sloppy run, but decent time. So yeah, I was happy enough with it.
Yeah. And have you got any involvement in like future updates, changes to the track?
Yeah, we'll see. I know they're still working through some approvals, I think, for this year, maybe with the environmental stuff. But I had chatted with them a month or two ago, and I told them like, hey, if there's an opportunity to still be involved, like I know that they're planning to basically race more or less the same track. But I always think it's cool if you can tweak a thing here or there, just make some upgrades, you know, to a few sections. And there are some things I think with that track where you could run it in the trees longer through the middle, as long as they can get the approvals to do it. So there's a little less ski run stuff through the middle, which I think would be awesome. But yeah, if the opportunity is there to help them anymore, I told them I was all on board, and I know that they would like me to do it if the opportunity is there. So we'll see. But I really like kind of the designing and course building of World Cup tracks and stuff too. So I've been chatting with Warner Brothers, and if there's venues in the US or wherever that I can help with, or things they're considering, and I can go hike up and down the mountain and kind of tell them like, yeah, this is going to be a good spot for a track, or no, that stuff's really fun for me. So I'm totally on board if the opportunity is there.
Nice. Yeah, it'd be great to have more North American races as well, right?
Yeah, totally. So I don't know that I can dedicate 8 weeks or whatever it was. I don't remember how long it was now, maybe 4 weeks or something of time the next year or two, just because I just want to focus a bit. But yeah, it was something I'd love to do in the future.
Yeah. So when did Nico first like sow the seed of going dark and doing something different?
I think he said that to me. I was like over a year ago. I actually rode the Frameworks bike over a year ago one day, just for a few laps. I was riding some different bikes and just testing things. I was just curious on what was what. And Nico has been joking with me for a while. And so it kind of got to a spot at the end of last year where we're both like, I'm like, okay, like, all right, man, well, I might be down. Like, what does this actually look like? And he's like, well, what do you need? And I was like, kind of told him, and he's like, the alignment was there. And I think we were both like, like, okay, like, well, let's talk about this. Cause it was kind of, he started throwing some stuff out there, and I was kind of like, well, all right. Like, if you're serious, like, this is, I knew kind of in my head what I was wanting to do. And so it was just, I think the timing and everything we were both kind of like hoping for, everything just kind of lined up. And I remember when it kind of went from a joke to like, let's actually talk about this. And that was pretty exciting, I think, for both of us. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. And impressively, you seem to manage to keep it pretty quiet on the internet, because the Vital Forum's fairly good at cracking these things.
We did.
They kept you guessing, and it, like, for the US, well, for all of us, but for the US scene especially, that was huge news. Yeah,
we flew this one under the radar pretty good. I think if I was riding at Windrock, I was riding Tuesdays, Wednesdays when the bike parks closed, and my mechanic James was shuttling me. And I think like a lot of people I had some ownership as an option in Crestline when that contract first happened. So I think a lot of people just assume because of that, I would never go anywhere else. But that deal actually changed kind of 8 months into my contract, and we kind of moved some things around. So I don't have that anymore. So I think there was just a couple different things that kind of made people surprised that was going to happen. But yeah, it was funny because we kept it pretty quiet all the way up until like couple days before we announced it. I went to Rock Creek and did a bunch of filming for the release video, and all the OGs, shout out to all the guys at Rock Creek, like all the guys that were rotting there that day. Like nobody said anything, nobody posted any photos, and there was probably like 30 people there that day, and we were filming all day. I had my kit on and everything, and that was where we were kind of laughing. I was like, well, we made it this far, but it's gonna blow up 2 days before the announcement. But everybody kept quiet, so it was cool.
Yeah, the fact that didn't get onto the forums is really cool. Yeah, respect to everybody.
I think everybody that rides there knows Nico owns that place and the team and everything, and they're like, oh, this is cool. We can't be the ones to leak it because Nico's gonna choke us when we come back.
Yeah, exactly. And how's it felt then getting back to full-time training? Like, have you enjoyed that element of it?
I love it, dude. Like, honestly, when I talk about like how much I'm gonna miss all this when I'm done racing, that's part of what I feel like I'll miss. Hopefully I'm doing something that I can still be really focusing on fitness and training and kind of having a routine. But I think when you're able to have like a singular focus that you wake up every day and like this is the priority, and still now I'm way busier than I was 10 years ago when it literally was the only thing I needed to worry about. Like I still got a lot more going on now, but to be able to just like get up every day and like go to the gym and ride and like work on yourself and your health and your fitness and your strength and like your speed on the bike, and like that is your job. That it's like the best thing in the world, dude. Like I love it. I can't imagine a job being any better. So I think, when you start to get into other lines of work and then you starts pulling you away from that routine and that kind of program that you really love, you realize like, man, like I like doing that. If I can do that a few more years, like that's really my sweet spot. So yeah, it's been amazing. Like we just moved into a new house kind of near Nashville. I live like 10 minutes from a couple of different private moto tracks and met those guys. They're awesome. So just rode moto for the first time in like 5 years a couple weeks ago. And yeah, we just got like starting to get like a routine similar to my old one where I've got a couple good spots to go ride and pedal. Got a good gym at my house. I've got, Windrock a couple hours away. We have a house there so I can go ride and train there when I want to ride downhill. Can ride the dirt bike. We're starting to travel and do preseason camps and all that stuff again. So it's starting to feel like old times a little bit.
It's good, man. It's exciting stuff. Yeah. Do you feel different physically, like now that you're more active and more on top of that stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've always been such a big kind of like fitness person. I think I was known for that earlier in my career. And I was just like, I've always been very consistent. Like I just don't miss days in the gym, don't miss rides. Like I feel like terrible if I miss one day, like it's just unacceptable. And I did that for so many years. When I had my elbow injury, I'd worked so hard for 2 or 3 years where it was just like one injury after another. And it was like you get surgery and you go straight back into the gym a few days later and you're just working on everything you can around your injury. So doing that for 2 or 3 years and just continuing to get hurt, I was just like, man, I'm just like a full-time professional, like gym person. Like I'm never getting the payoff of like what I'm working hard to do. And so when the elbow injury I realized it wasn't going to be a 3-4 month thing and it was going to be like an 8 month to 12 month thing. I think I was just like, for the first time in my entire career, kind of burned out on like, just, all right, go back into the gym now for 8 months until your elbows heal and just keep hammering. I was like, man, I'm just like kind of over it. Like I want to do some other stuff. And we got the bike park, started working there. And yeah, really, to be honest, for the first time in my entire career, I stopped going to the gym, stopped training like completely for more or less like a year. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like even when I came back and started racing, I might have been to the gym once or twice, but I mean, we were so busy during some of those times that it was like, like I said, I was just like, I'm too busy to get in the gym today. Like I need to be on emails, or I need to be traveling here or doing this or whatever. So yeah, for like a year straight, I pretty much didn't do any type of structured training outside of just like, I'd ride my downhill bike at the races, but I wasn't in the gym. I wasn't doing cardio training really, like hardly ever. I was on the road nonstop. Like I don't think I was ever even home more than 3 or 4 days at a time for sometimes like 6 months at a time. Like we were just bouncing around all over the place. So I was staying busy and doing a lot of cool stuff, and working hard, but just the training part, like I just kind of got out of that rhythm. So I started paying the price for that, for sure. Like I started getting some injuries, repetitive use injuries, little things like with my finger or my foot or different things. And kind of like, yeah, I started paying the price, to be honest. And so now that I'm back on my kind of old routine, like eating healthy, eating enough food, training, riding just about every day, like it took a little while when I got back into the gym. I was like, man, like usually I don't lose strength, you know, because I just don't miss days ever. And I got back in the gym and just like had quite a few little nagging things I needed to get strong again. And, you know, was way down on some of my weight and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think if you put in, you know, 15 years of consistent work and you miss one, it's sure you lose your base compared to usual, but it doesn't take a lot to get it back. So now that I've had, you know, the last 3 months or so being consistent again, like when you start to feel strong again and your workouts are going good and you can start pushing and you go on a ride and you can start pushing, and like when that starts to come along, like, man, I feel so much better, like physically and everything when you're just doing the right thing. So start sleeping better, like everything just kind of works when you're being healthy. So yeah, man, like I'm very much enjoying being able to kind of have that routine and kind of starting to feel strong again.
That's really good.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Are you a numbers guy then? Are you like, do you know where you were at for certain things and you're back there or you're beyond there now?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know where I was, you know, through all the years. And I think now I'm in a little bit of a different place. I just turned 38 about a month ago. So I'm a little bit older now, so I don't know that it's realistic that I'm going to be like way stronger now than I was when I was 25 or whatever. Yeah. But I think being strong when you need to be strong and just being able to do it maybe a little bit smarter, and just trying to maintain kind of that peak strength. I don't know, I'm going to get like way better than I was, but at least if I can kind of be close and then learn to manage that, you know, like I can't do quite as much volume as I used to do. But I'm pretty close.
Okay.
So I think, but I think what I find now is you can't like just train. Like you've got to really make sure you're sleeping and you're eating and you're recovering, and on your off days, you're not just like doing nothing. You've got to work pretty hard on the recovery now if you want to maintain that level of training. So that's definitely like, I would say the difference now, but, just starting to feel strong again has, been very fun.
Do you track anything for like recovery? Are you looking at like heart rate variability or any of that stuff?
I actually don't. I do want to get one of those, like either like a Whoop band or the Ring or something like that, and just start adding a little more metrics in. I've not been like a huge data guy, to be honest. I just started doing more heart rate and wattage stuff again the last few months. I did a lot of that earlier in my career, so I kind of know, like if you say, hey, do a ride at this percentage of like perceived intensity level, or this heart rate, like I kind of know what that feels like. And I kind of just got tired of staring at monitors for a few years, but now I'm kind of like on the opposite side where I'm starting to find that stuff interesting, and I also find it motivating to watch my numbers kind of increase and get better. And you know, when you do the exact same workout but your watts that you're sustaining have like jumped up by a little bit and you're watching the progress, I think for me, like that's really fun now. I enjoy it more. So starting to do some more of that for sure.
Yeah. And other than focusing on those elements around it, like sleep, food, recovery, all that kind of stuff, have you changed anything else about the way you train or the of your training philosophy from, 10 years ago, say, to now?
I think it's fairly similar, I would say. I don't know that I'm doing as much like long rides on my enduro bike. I did an Instagram post actually on it a couple of weeks ago about like kind of training in the gray zone or whatever, which is kind of like, I think a lot of people can relate. When you go out on a ride with your friends, everybody just tries to keep up with each other. So you just like, you kind of push as hard as you can push for an hour and a half or so without blowing up.
Yeah.
You're just
like a zone 4.
You're kind of like teetering that zone where if you go harder, you've got like 20 seconds of that and you're going to explode. So you're just like right on the edge of how much you can maintain, like, but you're really working hard. And I used to do a lot more rides kind of like that naturally. I think now I learned to manage the efforts a little bit more. It's like, if I'm going to do intervals, go really hard, do your intervals. And then if you're on a base building ride, like keep it in zone 2, like
it's full chill,
ride, you know, and spin. And I think e-bikes actually, I kind of naturally learned that, even 3-4 years ago when I was like kind of on my last comeback, when I was starting to podium a bunch again towards the end of that season in 23 or whenever that was. I think just I was riding my e-bike like 3-4 days a week. So I was riding a ton, but I wasn't like burning myself out because I was on the e-bike, and then I would do my intervals. And I just started feeling like a little fresher, like not just so beat down and tired. Because if you're working in the gym 3-4 days a week and you're pushing, and then you're doing those types of rides, those harder kind of grind rides, like you never really feel that great. Like you're just always grinding. And so I think I've learned to kind of manage the efforts a little bit more as I've gotten older, and it's just like hard for me to maintain like that level of effort now. Like I need to be a little bit smarter if I'm going to feel fresh. So yeah, I think kind of just choosing when to go hard and when to go easy, and being a little smarter about that is something that I've kind of gotten better at.
Yeah. And so now you're physically in a much better condition, say, than you were 3 months ago. How has that translated to how you feel on a bike? Have you felt that difference?
For sure. I think in 2 different ways. Like one, just when you ride physically, I'm starting to feel strong now. Like if I just bite off like say a minute of the track at a time and I can just charge for a minute, I feel like I can ride as hard as anybody. I can take any impact. I can slam off of a big drop or into a G out or whatever, and I'm strong. Like I'm not like physically weak where I need to slow down because I can't just like really hammer. I can maintain posture well. Like I can be aggressive. I can put pedals in if I need to, and they're worth your time of actually pedaling. But for a whole run top to bottom, I don't quite have the fitness right now to do that for an entire lap. I've got to kind of manage a little bit. So it's cool to have the strength back to really push hard again, you know, even on the track here. And that's pretty much my qualifying run. I was like, all right, I want to push kind of for the first minute, not crazy, but like I'll kind of treat it more like a normal qualifying run, like where I'm going fast and I'm like working the bike pretty good. And then I'm going to kind of like just regroup a little bit in the middle, like 3/4 of the way down on this track. It was kind of around the whoop section, and take a few breaths and just make sure I come into the bottom like feeling like I'm fresh and I can move the bike around on those big jumps and, you know, not kind of be a passenger. But I felt better than I thought I would, and I was like, yeah, you can push harder, but I still know ultimately where I'm at, and if I really push all the way down, you know, I'm going to struggle a bit. So yeah, we're just kind of working. I think my strength has got pretty good as far as like the muscle I need, but I think my cardio and some of that endurance is just like, we're still February. So got a few months and want to build into the season. So I'm pretty happy with where we're at. I had a couple of lingering injuries coming out of last year. Those are all starting to get better just through being in the gym and getting them strong again. So it's really nice to kind of know those are going away and feeling good. And I'm recovering after my riding days, even like here, like pretty good. So yeah, everything's kind of on the right track again, which is cool.
What sort of work is it you need to do to close that gap on the kind of full run pace? Is it zone 2 base stuff? Is it something different?
I think it's a bit of both. Like I think when you're building the base, like the bigger your base, the stronger your base, the more you can kind of build on top of that. So I think like continuing to get those base rides in, those miles in, just like the miles and the legs that I need. And then just like, as you get closer to the season, you always start ramping up that high intensity stuff more anyways. And that's kind of where you live in a race run, is that like kind of right on that threshold. So yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think for me right now, I'll keep working on strength because there's still some stuff that I want to kind of get stronger, and a few little injuries that I'm still like kind of finalizing, getting them strong. But yeah, I think for me, it's a lot of that like cardio stuff is the stuff that'll just kind of keep working into the full lap. So, yeah, but it's exciting. It's nice to know that, I'm where I'm at as early in the year as we are right now.
Yeah, it's a great tester, isn't it, this event, in that way?
Definitely. Yeah, and it would have been interesting to see how yesterday would have went if it would have stayed dry, because I was like, basically told myself, like, okay, just go empty the tank by the whip section now, and you've got enough you can hold on to it through the bottom, through the jumps, and not be a hazard. So but yeah, we'll wait till the next race, I guess.
Do you have a feel for how much you had in the tank time wise? Like, are you the sort of person that would have tried to crunch some numbers on that?
Yeah, I think so. I think realistically, I think Asa was like 6.5 seconds up on me at the bottom. I think he was like 3 up, 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the track.
Yeah.
And that's right around the spot where I know that I kind of backed it down and was like really just riding the track at trail speed and trying to like get some energy. And you can see where my splits were good, and then just started dropping off the last minute of the track. Basically put another 3 seconds into me, and part of that too on the last jumps. That was only the second time I had jumped through any of that stuff kind of at the finish line. And when I watched it back, I could see I'm like casing stuff and overshooting stuff and just your timing because you hadn't done it. So I would like to think that pretty easily I probably could have shaved half that time off. So I don't think, and I think I could have went a little faster at the top. So I don't think I'm making up 6.5, but I think I probably would have made up like 3.5, maybe 3, like pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I think maybe like battling right around there with maybe Troy, like even with Ronan, I think we were within a second of each other through the first 2 minutes of track or more. So, I don't think I would have went 6.5 faster, but yeah, that kind of like 3 to 4 range maybe is where I would have liked to have been.
And that place to be.
Yeah. That put me in a good spot for where we're at this time of the year. Yeah. So, ain't gonna be easy, but I think we're getting closer.
Good stuff. And let's talk a bit about that bike, because I think it's fair to say you look pretty comfortable on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's basically exactly what you said is what I felt. I've said it, I think, in another interview and some different things that I've done where like I got on that bike within a few laps and it just felt like home. I think also an advantage I have is like Nico really knows my riding style, what I like, and Ancho, who's Asa's mechanic, is really good at like kind of the setup of that bike as well. So between the two of them, Nico can say, hey, I know how Aaron rides, give him this shock tune from Fox because this is what he's going to like. Yeah. And I get on it and I'm like, yep, I like it because of this, this, and this. And he's like, yep, well, here's the internals and this is exactly what it's supposed to do. And so I think and Asa and I honestly are pretty similar in what we like in a bike. He likes it maybe a little more supple off the top, and I like a little more platform, but like barely. And I think I'm learning to kind of go that direction a little bit more too, because of some of the, I think, where I need to make time on tracks, I think, where my kind of weaknesses are. I think I need to kind of go a little more that direction, but we're honestly like within a few clicks and a few things, like we're pretty close.
That's interesting, because watching the two of you on track, like I wouldn't necessarily say the setup would end up being that similar.
Yeah, we're pretty similar. He's growing a lot now, so he's getting big.
Yeah.
So yeah, we run our bikes like pretty similar. Same length, same shock positions, same tunes, like all that stuff. So that's been good, and that bike's just been tested and refined so much by racers that that's what you feel when you get on it. It's not like I'm the first guy that's really been pushing it, and it's all up to me to figure out the settings. So it's just really nice to like skip a lot of that work and just start with a really good base, and then I can fine tune it to myself. Then we're going to be here at the bike park for the next till Saturday, I think, so another 4 days or so. So we're just going to be testing and kind of refining. Like hardline is cool, but I don't think like our bikes were really stiff this week, so they're not going to be that stiff at a World Cup. So we're just going to kind of like keep tweaking on them and kind of find, we already, I feel like, found a really good base in California a couple weeks ago, but we'll just kind of keep tweaking with them here the next couple of days and just kind of like find our preseason race base, which I think is awesome to have this early in the year. But yeah, the bike is just fun, man. Like it does everything well, and I feel like nothing bad, which is awesome because the bike doesn't back you into a corner like, oh, it does this really good, but this is really the weakness. So you're always tuning around this weakness. So no matter what you do, like you're kind of compromising. I feel like this bike is just like right kind of down the middle on everything. So it's really easy to set up. It's really easy to ride. And it honestly doesn't do anything to me that jumps out as like, whoa, like this is kind of the area of the bike that is hard to figure out. So it just ultimately makes a bike that's like very predictable to ride. And when you have a bike that you know like exactly how hard you can push it, and the harder you push, it's going to remain consistent and stable under you, then it's like, then you can push really hard because you're not getting surprised.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think that for me like has been awesome. And I think just the overall geo of the bike, I'm running it a little bit longer reach wise than I have in the past. And I've just got a bit of room, and the way that this bike works, like it just like, it's just really fun to ride. And like I said, it rewards you the faster you go instead of punishing you. So it's like, it's a race bike, man. I love it. Like, I feel like I can just charge into stuff and I'm not going to get surprised.
Yeah. Like just watching you in the launch video that you guys filmed at Rock Creek, like it felt like it was a different Aaron Gwin that you maybe not seen for a little while. I don't know. There was something about the way you were riding. It was playful. You looked like you were having a good time.
Yeah, I think having time to just be riding and getting strong again, and having some time on the bike, like you start loosening up. You don't ride so stiff. But the bike itself is amazing. Like it's like straight up the best bike I've ever ridden. It's hard to compare it to other bikes because it's like other bikes I thought were really good might have been 26-inch wheel size bikes, or, you know, like the technology's changed so much, you know, every year. But for me, like, dude, I love the bike. I love looking at it. I love like everything about it. Like the thing is sick. Like,
yeah,
so
cool. Yeah.
When you find a bike that just feels like home every time you get on it, and you know, like I can just send it into stuff and this thing's going to be solid, and it already has the testing and the tuning and all the stuff for the last years of Asa winning everything on it. It makes my job a lot easier. I just need to get on it and go fast.
And what's the plan for this week in Maydena then? Have you got certain things you want to like test, tick off, or are you just getting some speed laps on tracks that aren't hardline? Or
yeah, a little bit of both. I think testing wise, we've got a couple different stem lengths that we were going to kind of mess with. I'm really happy with the 45 that I'm running now from Bergtech, but we do have some other stem lengths we can mess with. We have kind of some shock settings that I think we'll keep playing with, because like I said, we're just really stiff on everything here because of the big drops and stuff. So we're going to kind of tweak a little bit on the shock and just try to find like another base. We'll probably go back to my California base that I had because I really liked what we found out there. But we'll probably just like reconfirm that here. I think we have some tire compound stuff from Continental as well. Nice. For like race tires and certain conditions that we have available to us. So I might try some of that a little bit that I haven't ridden yet. I've just been riding the stock tires and I think they feel great. But, you know, if it's super cold outside or something like that, they've given us some options. So, yeah, we're going to test through a couple of things, but more than anything, like I said, I don't really feel like there's any gaps in the bike or my setup right now. I just want to spend more time on it and just enjoy riding and getting in like full laps. So, yeah, we'll mess with a few things, but I think we're honestly just kind of bored at this point, and we're just going to play with it because we can, not because I feel like we're trying to like find something that's lacking, you know. But I think being in February and having the time to like fine tune at that detail, when we're like, well, we could go racing tomorrow and we'd be happy with our setup, but we've got some time, so let's keep working on things. Yeah. It's like I haven't had that for a while, so it's yeah, pretty sweet.
An exciting place to be. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about like mindset. I'm intrigued as to whether your mindset or your approach to racing has changed at all, because it's, you know, many years that you've been at this now.
Yeah, I think I would say it's similar as it's always been, but I would say I guess like always, like what's worked obviously is not focusing on the results, but focusing on yourself and your work. And, you know, you go race like this weekend and I'm like, okay, like fitness needs to be a little better. This needs to be a little better. That could be better. And then you go to work on your weaknesses and you just repeat process every time you go ride your bike or you race. So that's really always, you know, that's what the focus should be. But I think like when you're competing for wins all the time and stuff, like sometimes you're in championship battles, whatever. Now, like having all the injuries, the focus has kind of come back on like just get your base of fitness and strength back so that you're healthy and you feel like you're not going to be like sore and like breaking stuff all the time. And then it's like, okay, get the bike back. And then it's like, okay, we've kind of got like a solid base back of everything. And now it's like fine tuning and tweaking. But I think as far as like my goals, like I just want to be competitive again. Kind of know how much time I need to find, like, you know, half a second a split right now would go a long ways. You know, even last year when I look at some of the races, I was only like 3.5 seconds, 3 seconds off the win at a couple races, but so were 20 other guys. So like the pack's just getting really tight. So it's just refinement. And for me, getting my best riding, you know, when it counts again. I'm finding like I can go really fast in sections in practice, but doing it for a whole run during the race and having the consistency, especially on the big, hard, gnarly tracks, like that's, you know, what I'm kind of working back towards again. So my goal is just to be able to push my pace all the way down the track. That's kind of, I'm doing everything I can to just try to put myself in the position to be able to do that again. And then I think the results should follow. So I'm trying to keep it simple and just really performance focused on myself right now.
Yeah. And if you trawl the forums, which I don't recommend anyone ever does, but like there are a number of people there that have kind of written you off. Like, do you see that? Do you use that as an energy to drive you, like, or do you just try and block it?
I honestly have never really cared much about that. I find more like humor in it, you know, and I think it's good for sports. Obviously, like it gets people talking, you know, and people have they're fans of certain people and not of other people. And so I kind of always try to keep that in mind. But I think for myself, like, you know, like I just know what I've been through the last, like now it's been 5 or 6 years. Like the last year I actually had a halfway decent training year and we were still prototyping bikes with Intense right in the middle. It didn't have, you know, we weren't even on the M1 at the end, which was the bike I was really excited to race when I got hurt. I think I podiumed like 3 of the last 4 races of that season. And it was like, okay, next year's the year. Like I'm going to get a strong off season in. We're finally going to have the bike we've been working on. Like it's on. And then I blew my elbow out 3rd lap of practice of the first World Cup and then didn't touch a bike for a year. And then, you know, had a hand surgery and then was just all the stuff. So I think for me, like I'm not getting any younger. And the young guys are going, you know, faster than ever right now. The talent of the field, the depth of talent is way deeper than it's ever been. Like if you look across the top 30, and even the amount of guys that could win a race this year is going to be insane with the juniors moving up. So it's deep, but at the same time, like I know how close I've been for what I've been able to do. And I don't think that it's, you know, unrealistic to think I could be fighting inside the top 10 or top 5 at the races. It's definitely going to be easy and we'll see if I can do it. But, I don't know. I'm not far off. So
it's an exciting time to do it, right? Like, cause if you can, you're beating some very, very, very good riders. I mean, it's always been good, but it's so deep now with the, like you say, the young lot coming in.
Yep, totally. So yeah, I think for me, just finding the consistency in the full lap. You know, if we go to certain tracks and say, all right, let's just go section for section and ride down the track, like I'm pretty confident in my speed. Like there's not a lot of guys that are going to like outride me in a section if I'm riding at my best. But all the pieces that need to come together between yourself, your team, your equipment to be able to do it consistently down the whole track, you know, on a Sunday afternoon when it counts, that's very difficult to do. So yeah, but I feel like I'm getting back to being closer than I've been in a long time to being able to put those pieces together. So we're going to work really hard and see how close we can get.
and World Champs has been elusive for you, as for many other riders over the years. Does that mean like you put more focus towards that event? How do you see it in the mix of what you're doing this year? Yeah,
I think for me, I'll treat it as just another race. I don't know. I've never found that putting like way more focus on one race versus the other is great for me, unless that race is on a track that's completely different than any other type of track. And then it makes it worth putting the time into that if you need to, whether it's like a track with a lot of pedaling or Champery last year was a totally different type of track. And I noticed like the time that everybody put into that track that I didn't put in, like I paid for it a little bit. But I think, kind of doing the things I need to do to try to just get back to, like I said, being able to fight on any type of track. I think if I get into that position and I'm competitive at a World Cup, then I should be competitive at World Champs, the next week or whatever. It's just, it's another race. So, nothing specific for it, but looking forward to it.
Well, you've won there 4 times in the past, right? So you've got a good strike rate.
Yeah, good spot for sure. So, I'm excited. I like I like all the races on the calendar this year. Honestly, I'm bummed that I'm going to miss a few of them. I really wanted to race our entire U.S. National Series again because I really enjoy those races, and being able to race there and just kind of like being at home a little bit more in the summer and not having to be in Europe for like months at a time. So I think the way that this kind of works out with my schedule is nice. But yeah, all the tracks are good. Like I don't know. We'll see how South Korea goes. If I end up in the top 10 or something there, I might be like, Nico,
can I
go to Leo Gang?
How is that US scene right now? Like, it seems to be going really well over there.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. We our US National Series is doing really good. Those races are honestly insanely competitive. Like the guys that go fast at home are really fast. Like at a World Cup on those tracks, they're going to be finishing towards the top. I think we saw it last year at Whiteface. Like Dante, I think, was up inside the top 15. There was a couple other U.S. guys that qualified for finals. Like if you go to U.S. Open or race some of these other tracks, like the guys that go fast at home on those courses are really good. So, and I know this year there's even more of them doing them. So, and there's some factory teams and stuff that are just kind of doing those races now. So yeah, the series is growing. Like the courses are good and they're getting better every year. Clay, shout out to Clay for running that whole series. He's doing a really good job and just kind of bumping it up every year. And kind of making the show and the courses and the presentation, the whole thing better and better. And the pro class is getting stacked. So they're hard races to win, especially on those types of tracks. So yeah, it's going good, and I'm just excited to kind of be a part of it, like try to help it grow. Because I think, like, obviously we know what the Norba races were in their prime back in the day.
Yeah, incredible.
And I think it'd be really cool to have a series like that in America again and give racers some other races that they could do that could be great races. So fun to do. I love racing at home. We get to go to some really cool spots. I even get to like drive to some of the races and like kind of road trip across the US with my wife, which I think is really fun. So yeah, excited to do them.
Yeah. And you've got a 2-year deal with a potential extra year, I think, with Frameworks.
Yep.
Do you, like, if the results are coming and you're doing, what you want to do, get into that top 10, top 5, or maybe even a bit more, like, do you think you would still walk away at the end of 3 years? Do you think that would be enough?
Man, for sure I would have said a couple of years ago, like, yeah, depending on what opportunity is in life, like, I'll be good. But I kind of feel like, honestly, at this point, if I can battle for podiums and top 10s every weekend, I can't think of another job I would rather do more. And like I said, I think the thing that makes racing bikes unique is you can't come back to it at that level. Like when you retire, especially if I'm 40, 42, you're going to take 5 years off and then come back to it. So it's, when it's done, it's done. You can still race and you can still have fun, at a certain level, but you're not going to be able to do it at that level again. So I feel like, with where I'm at right now today, like if I'm competitive, I would like to keep racing as long as I can, just because I enjoy it and I know I'm really going to miss it when it's over. So if I can do it, I'd like to keep doing it.
Sweet. And this weekend feels like it's been our first glimpse into you in your Frameworks era. And I get the impression, I know it's hardline, it's not a World Cup, it's different, but I get the impression you're maybe having more fun than you've ever had doing mountain bike racing. Yeah,
that's probably fair to say. I feel like I'm in a really good spot right now. Like I'm really enjoying just riding. Every day I get to get on the bike. I'm thankful to be on a factory bike and a factory team and be doing it with my friends, like people that I love and have had a ton of history with. And I just, like, my wife travels with me to all the races now. My mechanic, James, he's not here this weekend, but he'll be at every other race with me the rest of the year. We have a great relationship. So it's just like, man, it's a kind of a dream scenario for me right now. Like I'm really happy. I'm really enjoying riding. I'm enjoying starting to feel kind of like my old self a little bit too again. Like I know that I've still got that speed in there. And so now that things are kind of lining up to where it can start to happen again, it's just fun to feel that again. So, Yeah, man, I'm stoked. We'll see how it goes. It definitely isn't going to be easy, but it's nice to be feeling like we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see it. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of many fans in saying that we are excited to see what you get up to this season and watching what the Frameworks team do on the circuit. Thanks. It's late in the evening. I know you've got an early morning testing tomorrow, so thanks for taking time to sit down for a chat and for helping out with the live show in the week as well. It's been a pleasure to hang out and catch up.
For sure, man. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody's love this weekend here at the race and the comments on my Instagram and all the stuff. It's been really fun. So, yeah, excited for the season ahead.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, guys.